And, of course, the main event, Jon Jones and Vitor Belfort, UFC 151 gets canceled, and Dana White announces, well, we're going to have Jon Jones fight Lyoto Machida in Toronto. It turned out now that it's going to be Vitor Belfort. Obviously, bad news for most of the MMA world, but Toronto fans must have been pretty excited. Now you get Jon Jones, right?
Well, yeah, I'm sure Toronto fans are excited. I mean, I'm a UFC fan. I was looking forward to Labor Day weekend and watching Jon Jones fight Dan Henderson. I think that fight will happen at some point, and that'll be a great, great fight. Looking really much forward to seeing that one. And listen, I put my business hat on, and I wish UFC 151 happened, because it certainly cost us a lot of money, and it cost our pay-per-view providers, our partners. It cost them money. It cost our bars and restaurants that show a closed circuit. It cost them money. So, we don't like to do this. We don't take it lightly, of course, but it is what it is, as Dana would say, and now it's just push forward to UFC 152, and as you point out, Las Vegas' loss is Toronto's gain, and Jon Jones will put on a great show, and so will Vitor, sort of the new phenom versus the veteran phenom, and I think it'll be a lot of fun.
And how big of a boost did Jon Jones add to that card? Obviously, BJ Penn, Rory McDonald scheduled to fight. Rory was unable to make that date, but now Jon Jones gets added to the card. Was there a significant a ticket boost, significant interest boost in this card after Jon Jones was added to it?
No question. Significant ticket boost. We still have a few tickets left to sell, but we're going to be pretty close to a sellout, and I think the energy in the building is going to be great. I mean, Jon Jones is still young. He's still learning, but nobody's defended his title with more frequency than Jon Jones, certainly in the last while. And he's not only done it often, but he's done it with success. And he sort of marches by his own drummer. But you'd be surprised, there's going to be a lot of Vitor Belfort fans in his corner. He's been around for a while. He was I think he was the youngest UFC tournament winner. I think he won his first tournament when he was like 19.
Yeah.
And the guy's a stud. He's as experienced as you'll find. And I think it'll be really interesting to see how he does against Jon Jones. I mean, the odds are long, but what they say in our sport, and you know this as well as I do, anything can happen. And when anything can happen, anything sometimes does.
Are you disappointed that the UFC heavyweight title is not being defended on this card, as that was one of the original bouts that was slated for Toronto, was JDS in the rematch against Cain Velasquez?
Yeah, disappointed's the wrong word. I mean, I think as a fight fan, I'm going to look forward to seeing that, and it's going to happen, sooner than later. And I'm sort of the guy that's responsible for this country, and you always want to see great cards, and I think we've got one now in Toronto, and you can imagine what it's going to be like in Montreal. So, while it'd be obviously great to have the heavyweights, because everybody loves to watch the heavyweights, it's going to happen, and our fight fans here will be able to enjoy it. Either travel to the event if it happens to be in Vegas, or they'll watch it on pay-per-view at home or in a bar and restaurant. So there'll be plenty of opportunities, and I'll be one of them watching.
Going forward in 2013, with the UFC doing Ultimate Fighters in other countries, they've mentioned that they're going to India, they've gone to Brazil. Today was the debut of Australia versus UK, and last week, obviously, the debut of Season 16. When are we going to see Tough Canada?
Again, sooner than you think. I mean, we're right in the throes of talking with our broadcast partners and talking with production houses, and I'm working towards having a Tough Canada in 2013, which last time I checked was next year. So stay tuned.
And last time I checked, that was only a few months away. I mean, we're already towards the end of September now. We've got October, November, December, and then we're in 2013. Are we talking about the first half of 2013 or maybe the second half?
Probably the second half.
Wow. And as far as a format, what kind of format could we expect? Would it be just all Canadian, maybe one province versus another?
It's too early to say. We're still working out those kinds of details, but I can tell you one of the things that I've said to Dana and to Lorenzo in Las Vegas, that we just can't bring the tough that's been done so successfully out of Las Vegas and just plop it into Canada. We've got to make sure that it's got a distinct Canadian element, distinct Canadian flavor to it, and with the quality of production houses that we're talking to, I'm sure you'll see that, and it'll be it won't disappoint.
And I know that there's been rumors of the Ultimate Fighter house being in either Toronto or Montreal. Could you confirm that those are the two cities that are the most likely to get the house?
You know what? I can't because we haven't really decided. But chances are it'll be. I mean, the two places where we've held the most UFC fights will be Montreal and Toronto. So there's a good chance it'll be in those places.
And the plan for 2013 for the UFC is still 3 shows in Canada, as far as Toronto again, Montreal again, and then will it be Calgary again or maybe Vancouver?
We haven't decided yet. Toronto and Montreal are definites in 2013 and 2014, but we haven't made a decision as to exactly where we're going to be for 20 in that third city. If I was a betting man, it'd be in Western Canada, but we haven't decided whether or not it's going to be Calgary or not.
And as far as Vancouver, is the UFC going to go back there anytime soon? Are things settling down as far as the sport and the governing body over it there?
Oh, we'll definitely be back in Vancouver. There's no question about it. The provincial government in Victoria recently announced, as you probably know, the passage of Bill 50, which really provided for the appointment of a athletic commissioner to oversee the sanctioning and regulatory requirements for mixed martial arts, professional mixed martial arts in British Columbia, and we hope that they'll have their regulatory work done by the end of this year, and in which case the door will be open and for us to return and I'm excited to go back there. It's been Vancouver's a great market for us. We've held 2 events, UFC 115 and UFC 131, both been very successful, and we'd like to go back to Vancouver for sure.
Well, it sounds fantastic. Tom Wright, I want to thank you once again for joining us on this very busy week, and thank you again for pushing the UFC and pushing mixed martial arts throughout this country. You do a great job, and all Canadian MMA fans owe you a debt of gratitude. We appreciate everything you do, Tom. Thanks again.
Well, it's nice of you to say that, but the UFC couldn't do what it does without great media partners like you guys at TSN. So thanks very much for what you do.